What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another very special edition of the Burnout Brighter podcast. This is actually going to be a wonderful new mini-series that we're going to be launching called Mental Health Power Up. We're going to be talking to a bunch of incredible doctors, psychiatrists, and lots of people in the mental health industry who are working every day to help people and to make the world a little bit of a better place. But before we get into all that, I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, Destiny.
Hey.
And my lovely co-host, Darren.
Hello.
On this first episode, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're actually going to just start off the series with the three of us. We want to talk to you about how we've been doing, some of the things that we've been going through, and kind of why we decided to do this series to begin with. We are going to be working with Guardians Mental Health. There's going to be a fundraiser going through the entirety of this mini-series that you can donate to. And if you do, you're going to be entered to win a bunch of different cool prizes. The link will be in the show notes, so make sure you pop over there and take a look. There are some cool game codes. There are some cool games that we are very, very graciously given by Xbox Canada and PlayStation Canada. So shout out to them for supporting us throughout this. We really, really appreciate it. But enough of all that. Everything's going to be in the show notes. Guys, I wanted to start this with just talking to you. Ever since we started this podcast, mental health has been something that's been really important to us. So let's start there. Destiny, I'm going to start with you. But before we get into how we're doing, you were the brainchild of this miniseries. Can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to do it? What kind of came to you? Why did you want to talk about mental health in a miniseries like this?
Okay, well, honestly, I feel like it's one of our core values that we always kind of talked about it. And when you decided to come up with the podcast, it was one of the main things you wanted to focus on. And over going into our third year now, I feel like, we've never really taken the time to really sit down and have like mental health professionals on. We've had a couple of on, but since we push it every single time, I thought like we need to do a mini series. And it seemed like the perfect time because around the holidays, a lot of people are dealing with things, depression, anxiety, and you guys, the past couple of years, it's crazy to say that, but the past couple of years has been really hard with this pandemic. And so I thought it would be a good idea to do a mini series just focused on mental health and actually reaching out and getting some counselors and doctors to come on and tell our listeners and other people how to deal with it, give them some tools, some ways to actually access information and possibly, even get some mental health that they need. Well, not mental health, but get some help that they need with their mental health. I know for all of us, it's been pretty tough. This past year has been extremely hard for me. And there's been a lot of ups and downs. And I guess I was doing it for our listeners, but I think I was really doing it for us. And that may sound a little selfish, and I don't want it to sound selfish, but I think I wanted to bring this series about because it's something that I felt that I could use in my life moving forward. And I felt that it was something that I wish I had access to, like back when I was in South Korea. So I really want people to realize that it doesn't matter where you are. All the information we're giving you will be information that you can connect to through the internet. And I want people to know that you're not alone. Right. And so that's really the reason why I thought that we needed to do this series, because mental health is important. We always say that. And now we're actually pushing the idea. And hopefully it's not the last time we do something like this, but it is the first time. And I think we've done a few interviews and they have been absolutely amazing. Everybody who's been taking the time to, and let me just say thank you really quickly to all of those people who have set aside their time, all of these professionals who work in mental health, for coming on and talking with us and giving our listeners some information about how to deal with things they might be going through.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited for this. Like you said, Destiny, all three of us are people that have had to deal with our own mental health issues in the past. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have also had to deal with various mental health issues. It's a much more common problem than a lot of people might think. And so this has been really nice for all three of us, and we hope it's just as enjoyable for our listeners. We are not experts. And so I'm so excited to have people that are experts that can actually get us some of the answers that we always allude to, but just elude us. So yeah, great. Very, very excited.
Yeah, Yeah, instead of just the three of us yelling at you about things that we should, that we think that you should do or we think that might be helpful or have helped us, we have a lot of, actual experts here to talk. And like Destiny said, I think this is an incredibly important mini series. And I like this format for it. I feel like you said, this is going to be a thing that we can kind of come back to, as the years go on, to be able to continue to add to it because it is important. And like Darren said, a lot of people struggle. And I feel like one of the biggest problems, well, not problems, but one of the biggest barriers to entry when it comes to anything mental health related is the stigma around it and the fear of speaking out and the fear of talking about it. Just because I know for myself, it's hard because, you don't want to feel like you're being judged. You don't want to feel like, your people are going to think less of you because you're struggling. And a lot of that is just, the negative self-speak going on in your head. So we wanted to use this platform to kind of talk about it, which is why I really wanted the first episode to be just the three of us, because, we have to kind of put our money where our mouth is. We have to talk about where we've been at to be able to kind of give you a viewpoint, a lens into our lives, so that when you hear us talk about through everything through the rest of the series, and things do get difficult, things do get hard, there are some uncomfortable moments in these episodes, and not because of, anything gruesome or gory, but just because there are things that might hit. So that's kind of the first thing before we get any deeper into this episode, before we get any deeper into the following ones. There's going to be a trigger warning, a content warning on every single one of these episodes at the front, just so you know that there are things that might affect you. There are things that might hit you. There are things that might trigger you in some way, shape, or form. So just be aware that these conversations are going to be honest. They are going to be difficult at points, and they are going to be ones that we think are important, but just be aware that these are the things that will be going on in these episodes. So without further ado, Darren, I want to start with you because, you've been gone for the podcast for a little bit. And part of that was, because you were so busy and you had a lot going on. So I know, I'm sure our listeners, and just as Destiny and I as well, I want to ask, how are you? How have things been? How are you doing? Because I feel like this is kind of the most baseline question that you can ever ask somebody who might be struggling. It's just, how are you?
Just checking in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing okay. I'm very appreciative to both of you for giving me some time away from the podcast for a bit so I could focus on my school, which has been very meaningful because I think it would have just been incredibly stressful to do both my schooling and the podcast at the same time. I had a pretty stressful commute and everything. But it's been good to have some time. This whole past year, I've just been trying to do a lot of self-reflecting on like where I am and where I should be going. And I feel taking a step back and really trying to analyze with a very forgiving lens. Because, previously I would self-reflect a lot on myself and my life with a very critical lens, because you both know I'm a big critic. I'm pretty harsh on a lot of things, including myself sometimes. So I'm just trying to be a lot more forgiving and less critical of myself. And that's helped. That's helped a lot. And so right now, I'm just trying to like take things day by day and not try and second guess my path in life, which is something I also frequently do. But I think just being a little more forgiving and a little more patient and taking things day by day and giving myself the space to like reflect and meditate on things a little bit has been good.
Good. And I'm glad you're taking that time for yourself, because that is important, right? And like that's one of the things that I love about the three of us is that anytime anything ever pops up when one of us, like, where it's very quick that the rest of us will jump on and be there for each other. So I'm glad that you took that space and you trusted Destiny and I to kind of, keep things going, because you do need that time.
Thank you so much, because holy crap, you guys have been killing it. You've been trying so hard to do so much work, and it really shows. You've been doing incredible stuff.
Aw, thank you.
We missed you, dude. It was weird. It was weird for a bit. Like it took Destiny and I some readjusting, and like even when when we were killing it, it was always like this missing critical voice at the back of my mind was just absent, and I just needed to be my hype needed to come down sometimes, Darren, and there was nobody here to do it. Okay,
the dark cloud.
But the hype hole, Darren, the hype hole. D, what about yourself? How have you been?
I've been okay, I guess. I mean, I'm lying. I have definitely not been okay, but it's really hard for me to say that I've not been okay, which is probably something that I need to work on in general. Um, it's been a really hard year. Just trying to figure out what I'm doing. And I kind of want to take a page from Darren's book and kind of just take it day by day, but I find that very hard. I have a lot of anxiety about my future and where I'm
Mm.
going. And I tend to focus on my choices that I've made in life as right and wrong choices, especially if I don't end up where I think I'm supposed to be. Then I think every decision that I made in the past up into the point that I am was not the right choice, if that makes sense, because I'm
Right.
not where I want to be. Um, and I really want to try to step away from that because I've met some amazing fucking people due to the choices that I've made. And I've had some incredible opportunities due to the choices that I've made. Uh, and I really need to stop looking at myself as a failure. And I think one of the things that I'm always surprised by is like Jackie's always telling me about like her friends who think I'm so amazing. I've never met these people. Like, I guess I have like a miniature fan club. And I'm always like, whenever she says it, I'm just like, I don't know why they're so impressed because
Well, this is why
I
you need to
think I
meet these people so
struggle.
you can build your fan following. You got to build your
Right?
Destiny groupie group.
I have to build
Your
my
Destiny's
self-esteem.
children. I'm sorry, I could not myself go.
Anyway, um, I hate that joke so much. Like, but I think I need to just work on building my self-esteem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from some of the conversations that we've had with these counselors, and it wasn't even like a counseling session for us, but
Mm-hmm.
I felt comfortable enough that I was able to talk about some things that like uh, I just felt like it was the right time to talk about it, and I feel like not that we're not human and not that we're fake, but I feel like this series will show our listeners who don't know us personally how human and flawed and imperfect we really are,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like to
and
think
just
our
showing our
listeners know we're very
vulnerability.
flawed.
But the thing is that I think you watch people and you don't really take that into account. You don't know if that's
Yeah.
real because you don't know those people.
Yeah.
Do you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yep.
Um
It's true.
so yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm okay. I'm alive and I'm working towards being better for myself. And that's all I can really say, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on trying to be okay with the fact that things are changing that I can't control and constantly fucking up my plans, but I'm going to work around it and I'm going to be successful. I just have to keep believing that and I have to keep telling myself that
An incredibly
until
positive
I'm,
outlook.
yes, got to
Be
try to,
proud of
you know.
yourself.
So thank you. That's what I'm trying to. I know I've accomplished things, but like it at my age, because I'm older than you guys. I'm not going to say how old I am. I'm older than you guys. I feel like I should have been at a certain place by now. And I tell other people this like don't compare yourself. Like whatever road you're on is the road you're on for a reason. And it's like I tell people this and I believe it. Like logically I believe it, but emotionally I have a hard time
Yeah.
accepting it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on. And I have a feeling that this year is going to be a lot better. I want it to be a lot better. It has to be better.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's so hard to see it when you're in it, right? Like you talk, and the thing is, I'll be the first one to tell you, you have accomplished a lot. You are an incredible person. You are one
Thank
of the
you.
best people I've ever met in my entire life, and there's a reason that the three of us are doing this together. But it's no matter how much anybody can tell you those things, it's so impossible to feel it when you're stuck in it, right?
Right.
And like sometimes you need to take that space, that step back, and literally just be like, what have I done? Like let's take a look at the last little while, and even if it's us, you know, and everybody's list is going to be different. Is it that you got up this morning and took a shower for the first time in a few days, and that's a success story for you, and that's important? Is it that you were able to accomplish something that we've been working towards for a while, right? Like, it's important to just evaluate that as for what it is, without looking at right and wrong, without looking at the good and the bad. Because
Right.
that's what I mean. Like, you've given us more strength than I think you'll ever realize, and we genuinely could not do this without you. So you are important, Destiny. You are important, and you always have been, and you always will be, regardless of whether you see it or not. Darren and I will be here yelling it from the top of our lungs, for forever. So get used to it. You're kind of stuck with us. It's too fucking late now. No refunds, as Senna likes to tell me.
Before you make
We're
Destiny
here.
cry, Matt, maybe you should talk about
Yeah.
how you're doing.
Yeah, how are you doing? Thank
Honestly,
you, Darren.
fine.
You're welcome.
Okay. I came into this year in a really bad place. The worst I've been in a while, to be honest. Everything leading up to the wedding was incredibly stressful. We dealt with a lot of shit, again, Destiny, like you were saying, things that we just had very little control over. And it left me really exhausted going into it. And I had a fantastic week, and we had a lot of things go very right. And we had a wonderful time with a lot of people who were very, very grateful, took the time to be there with us. We got back from the wedding, and then we went right into an absolute shit show of a week when it came to the job that Destiny and I were working at the time, where we basically went for 12 to 14-hour days every day on camera in front of people, and that's tiring, which then led directly into the holidays, where in my family, the holidays are stressful for anyone, for wherever you are. But there's a lot that happens in my family that just Sen and I didn't have any downtime together. I didn't have any downtime for myself. And right as things were finishing and right as things were looking up, Darren and I had a fantastic day together doing an Extra Life stream, right? We did 12 hours of fun and dumb stuff. And then on day 2, we got the rude awakening that we had somebody, in my family, in my household, get COVID. And the next week was basically like, we had to cancel our New Year's plans. We had to cancel everything. And the next week was pretty much just, it felt like for the last couple of years, we've avoided, we've been so careful to do what we can to avoid it, to not get caught up in it, to be safe for us and for the people around us. And now it felt like, to use like a stupid possibly analogy here, but like the story of the 3 little pigs, it felt like, the wolf was in our house and we were just waiting to be eaten, right? Like, yeah. It was just, there was nothing we could do. And it was like, I was terrified for, my family member who was sick. I was terrified for my parents and my grandparents, for everyone around us, because like, none of us are overly healthy people. All of us have had a run of health issues, outside of our control. And we talking about it wouldn't help. You know what I mean? There was nothing we could do. There was nothing we could do but wait. And we got very lucky. Nobody else got sick. The family member recovered well. But like, I came into this year feeling incredibly burnt out, incredibly tired. And like, I was playing games just to not think. I wasn't enjoying what I was playing. I was just doing it because we had nothing else to do. And it set me up in a really, really bad way. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I could do. I missed you guys. I missed my friends, and even my family. Like, we were walking around in the house with masks on. We were like scheduling times that we would each use the kitchen, and we were sanitizing after everything, just because like, what else were we supposed to do, right? But like I said, everything's, everyone's better now. We're on the upswing. Luckily, like I said, nobody else got sick, but I missed the first podcast of this year because I wasn't feeling well, but it's because we got the boosters. But like, I was also so insanely anxious about everything. I had no motivation. I couldn't focus on anything. I was the lowest in a while. So like, we were having conversations about the series. We were having conversations about what to do with the podcast. And I couldn't bring myself to focus on anything. I couldn't do it. So I'm very grateful, Destiny, about how much you stepped up and how much you took over, because I couldn't. I just, for the first time in a long time, I couldn't. And it was, we kind of crossed the threshold. We got to the point where we started feeling better after the boosters. I could see my family members recovering. I could see everything just kind of slowly starting again. And like again, talking about a list of success, I got up in shape for the first time in like a month and a half, just because like I couldn't bring myself to do it.
That's
Again, like
good.
it was just but again, like for me, it was just one of those things where I had to be like,
Yeah.
I have to start doing something here because I'm going to fucking lose my mind.
Right.
And I don't handle those situations the best way. I tend to avoid problems rather than deal with them, just because my mind starts running out 100,000 different possibilities of how I'm going to do it wrong or how I'm going to hurt somebody when I do it. So the long story short is coming back into burnout. When we started doing these mental health recordings, Destiny, I don't know if you noticed, but the first episode that we did, I was pretty much shaking as we started because I was so anxious and so nervous just being back here. And it was over the course of these episodes and it was the course of being back with you guys that like I started to find my footing again. I started to, being able to focus again. I started being able to push stuff again. And I'm still not okay, but I'm feeling better than I was. And I kind of want to keep this momentum going through this because, again, like you mentioned, D, I don't want to say that, like, having these conversations with all these incredible doctors and incredible people, incredible social workers, we're doing it for everyone, but like they've also been very important for me. So I really hope that people can take something away from this series in a way that, that even if it's just having a conversation, even if it's just taking a step back and looking at yourself, even if it is something as going and shaving, right? Like, I hope it gives somebody just a little bit of a half step forward, because it has been that for me already, and you guys have been that for me, and it's just. I'm very grateful that you are who you are.
Aw, thanks, Matt. Matt, we love you. You do so much for us.
Absolutely.
We would not be here without you, buddy. Honestly, this podcast wouldn't be anywhere near as good without you. You are the master of your domain. You are an incredible human being, and you deserve so much love. And this right here is why I'm so happy we're doing this special. This is an important special. This is an important series. Mental health is not just a one and done. You don't just have good moments and then you're good forever. It's a roller coaster.
Yep.
There's ups and downs. I'm good right now.
Yeah.
In 6 months, I might not be so good, but that's okay. It's progress. It's progress. And I'm happy to hear that things are starting to improve for you, Matt. You went through a freaking hurricane of a start to the year, but we march on. We continue on because we have to, because there's something good for us out there. There's something good for us to do. There's a reason for us to be doing what we're doing. And that is why we continue.
And we're going to keep doing it. We're not stopping anytime soon. And regardless of how controversial we might be for some or imperfect for others, we are going to keep doing what we're doing, and we're going to keep pushing the message of the importance of these conversations, of having these talks. So thank you to both of you. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you for being there, everyone. This series is going to be an important one and a fantastic one. And we're going to rock it. We've been rocking it, and we will continue to do so. So one more time. Again,
Yes!
All the links will be in the show description below. So make sure, if you can, please donate to the fundraiser. Like we said, there will be a number of cool giveaways that we'll be doing alongside that fundraiser, as kind of, the ticker goes up. So we can donate to Guardians Mental Health so they can make amazing mental health kits that they send free of charge to so many people. Like a $10 donation helps them make an entire kit for someone who needs it. So please, if you can donate, and if you can't donate, that's perfectly okay. Just
share
you
the
being here.
information. If
Yes,
you can't donate,
share.
share the information. If you can't donate $10, just in anything, any amount of money will do. And like, we appreciate it. Not only does Guardians appreciate it, we appreciate it. So please stay tuned. And also, let me just be clear. If any of our listeners ever need help finding access or finding information and you don't know who to talk to, please know that this is a safe space. You can always reach out to us on Twitter, through our emails, and we will do our best to try to connect you with someone who can help you in the way that you need to be helped. So that's one of the biggest things I want you to take away from this, is that we want to be there for you because you have been here for us through this journey. And I know Darren said, like, Matt, this wouldn't be like the podcast without you. But honestly, I think it takes us all to make this podcast what it is. And I think part of the thing that like we need to do as we step away from this is pat ourselves on the back a little bit more, because we give each other so many compliments, which are absolutely warranted, but also realize how important we are and what we're doing to make this podcast what it is. So you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's not me trying to take away from what you said, Darren, but
I agree with you.
So thank you. So please stay tuned, you guys. And I'm so proud of us. This is like, it's the fucking third year. It's the third year.
Isn't that fucking wild?
Into the third year. Jesus.
Yep, I know. Okay. And we're going to keep going. 2022 is going to be a big year. Destiny, like you said, it has to be, it will be, and we will continue to work to make sure that it will be for everyone. So everyone, thank you so much for checking out this first episode. Please, share it when you can. We just want to make sure that it reaches people who may need it. And get ready, because this is going to be one hell of a run. So, Darren, Destiny, any closing comments before we sign us out?
We love you guys. Thanks
love
for sticking with us.
Hell yeah. Everyone, thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
Deuces.
Later.